Good morning. I'm Audria, and I'm the author of First Sips. And so, what I like to do is just share a few sips with you, a few excerpts from my book, and maybe elaborate on it. So, look, let's listen. I'm going to be reading one of the pages, 43. It's titled The Interruption. Sin. How did it get here? Why did it create such a mess? Honestly, writing this part makes me nervous. I don't want to scare anybody off before they get to the best part. But this entire book is about obedience to God. So here we go. Genesis 2:7. And this is what God says. Then the Lord God formed, that is, created the body of man from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And the man, Adam, became a living being, an individual, complete in body and spirit. Not only did God create Adam, but he created Eve. He gave them a good life, inside and out. They were fully operated at their best. Along with giving them a good life, he also gave them specific instructions. In Genesis 2, he told them they could eat from every tree except one particular tree. God let them know if they did it, it would cause harm to their lives. Eve was tempted by the serpent and operated out of disobedience and ate the fruit and then offered some to Adam. They sinned. What is sin? Simply put, it's disobedience. Sin is doing things that God disapproves of. The fact is, what God did for us also suffered an interruption, but that interruption interrupted us, who we are, and the life He planned. When they disobeyed, they walked away from their covering and went outside of it. Now we're continuing on page 44. When they did, they became contaminated by sin. Sin is more than just a wrong act. It is an act that resulted in effects, an outcome. See, God Himself is pure. The life of God is free from anything harmful. Depression, low self-esteem, mental illness, lack of confidence, fear, etc. all cause suffering. These things are a threat to who we are. These things are the results of sin. Being a suffering human being was never His intention. Now remember the description of God. None of this is a part of who He is, His majesty. Let's look at God's majesty again. Now, majesty means a royal power, greatness, or splendor of quality or character. Splendor means magnificent features or qualities. Quality means the degree of excellence in beauty, high standard of excellence, a distinctive attribute possessed by someone. This is what you were created with. All of His features are pure, free of contamination and side effects. When Adam and Eve walked away from God, it's as if they opened the door and everything harmful then entered the world and us. That is when the suffering began. But there's good news. God provided a way for us to return to His majesty. Now let's just stop right there for a minute. When you think about it, all the things and all the problems, that sin causes. And sometimes when we think about sin and we think about, what Adam and Eve did, the thing is, hey, you're going to hell. So we'll look at it. The result of sin is going to hell. But in this instance, as you can see, the result of sin is not just going to hell. The result of a sinful act caused a problem in us. Almost caused like a type of death in us. What I mean by that is God gave us the kind of life that He wanted when He breathed in us. It was the way we operated. It involved the way we thought and the way we felt and the way we moved. But when Adam and Eve sinned, that part of us died. Now, we still physically existed, but the life we once knew was dead. And so God, when He describes Himself, who he is, even when you look at the description of majesty, right? A royal power, a greatness of splendor, of quality, of character. So when he breathed into us, it's like saying he breathed his royal power, his greatness, or his splendor of quality and character into us. We mentioned splendor again, magnificent features, qualities, right? So when he breathed into us, he breathed his magnificent features and his qualities. And then you look at the word quality, and once again describes the degree of excellence. So God breathing into us gave us his degree of excellence. And then we look at beauty, which says, an high standard of excellence. Now, something I kind of like about that is sometimes when you look at the word beauty, you might automatically think about a woman, what she looks, how she walks, her clothes. But here, beauty is not describing anything feminine. It's a standard of excellence, and it's called beauty. So beauty is a part of God, in which he gave us a high standard, not just an excellence, a high standard. And you know what's great about it? It pertains to the human being. This has nothing to do with clothes, your car, what you have, your title, your college degree. It has nothing to do with it. This is an excellence given to us so we can be top-notch human beings. And so I think that is wonderful that in this chapter, it kind of goes to the effect of describing the effects of sin and the problems that it caused to us. And then it gives a comparison of what God did. And that is what he wants us to go back to. So I just think that it's wonderful when you look at the book and kind of get the heart of it or the meaning of it. It is God. And it is his heart, that in his heart we can see here that he's not just, browbeating you about your sinful act or about your wrongdoing out. He will address those issues, like when we do something wrong, but that's just not an issue to him. You can see, even in this chapter, the issue is what's wrong. Because depression, low self-esteem, and all these kind of things is what's wrong with you. And what else is going to fix that? Because we can sit up and have a car, beautiful home, and all these kind of wonderful things, have all these other high standards on what we do, but yet we still suffer as a human being. So the heart of God says, I want you to be like me. I want those standards in you when I look at you, when you move and what you do. So the heart of God begins to tell you that, yes, I don't, or no, I don't really like this sinful act, but also no, I do not like how you resulted. And I want to give you me so you can go back to the majesty that you received in the beginning. So I just like to thank you, for taking your time, for listening through these pages, these excerpts that I kind of like elaborated on today. And of course, they can be found in, let's go, 43, pages 44. Yeah, pages 43 and 44. So if you have a book, you can go back to it. Even though you've read it again. And read it from a different viewpoint. Don't just look at it and from page to page you're reading. Take a moment. Take that sip, and sit back and look at it. And see, this is one of the benefits of sipping. When you sip something, you don't just gulp it down real fast. You sip it. And I remember one time, I was having dinner with my cousin, and we both had a drink, but I was kind of like just, chug a lug at mine. And he would always, take a sip. He would go back and eat, take a sip. And I asked him, I said, why do you keep sipping like that? Because to me, that was like abnormal. And his answer was, so I can get all the flavor. So when you go back to these pages, 43 and 44, don't just scan it. Take your time and sip it so you could get the full benefit of what God is saying. So I hope you enjoy this excerpt. And for those of you that have a book, just every now and then, even though you've read the book, pick a page and read it and just sip it. And for those of you who have not, if you would like to purchase a copy of First Sip, you can visit my site at audriahollinsauthor.com. That's audriahollinsauthor.com. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your sip.